All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Senator Omer Raines talk show, heard all around the world. That's right. You tell your family members, friends, and associates to simply go to americamatters.us. That's americamatters.us. Click on the Listen Live button from anywhere in the world. And then tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time, you'll be able to hear the recorded version of this same show. We're also heard on 1180 AM KCKQ throughout all of northern Nevada and northern California, and I'm talking about Lake Tahoe and Truckee, California, all the way to Portola, Doyle, and almost into Susanville. We go as far south as Gardnerville, Minden. We go to Virginia City, Fernley, and we want you to do this. If you'd like to join us, we're at the Reno Town Mall across from the Reno Sparks Convention Center. You can also text our chief engineer 775-237-2266 or give us a call and speak with Senator Omer Raines, the most interesting man I have met in years and years. The phone number is 844-790-TALK. I want you to write it down, 844-790-8255. He always has such phenomenal guests, so without further ado, let's get to the creator and the host of the Senator Omer Raines Show, Senator Omer Raines.
Thank you, Eddie. I really appreciate that. I want to welcome the regular listeners. I am Omer Raines. I'm welcoming you to American Matters Media. And as Eddie pointed out, we are broadcasting this program live to the world, not only in English, but by way of translation in various other languages as well. Now, as listeners to this show know by now, this program by choice is eclectic in nature. It does not focus solely on one topic or subject matter. Moreover, whatever the topic and whomever the guest, we encourage diverse points of view. Therefore, we welcome your comments or questions, either from the listening audience or friends. Eddie gave you the call-in number. I'm going to give it to you again. It's area code 844-790-8255. Or if you wish to text us your comment or question, that number is 775-237-2266. I ought to add that although the program is rebroadcast again at 4:45 a.m. Pacific time, that means it's 7:45 a.m. in the major urban areas of the East Coast. And with time differentials around the world, they will be picking it up in prime time as well. Okay, with that in mind, I do want to introduce today's guest, Dr. Sara Otterstrom. She is a great and marvelous social entrepreneur. She's one of great distinction. She has her Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Costa Rica and a Doctorate of Ecology degree from the University of California, Davis. She is recognized as an international leader in biodiversity. She has been for over 20 years. And although I am familiar and work with scores, and I do mean scores, of NGOs, and I think we'll have Sara describe what that is, I really selected Sara and her organization, the one she founded in 2005, Paso Pacifico, for illustrative purposes, because it means so much, not only to those with whom she works directly, but also indirectly to those of us here in America, in our local community. So anyway, since founding and remaining executive director of Paso Pacifico, Sara has led an international coalition, many organizations protecting sea turtles and forest wildlife, establishing nature reserves, planting thousands of native trees and indigenous plants, and helping to educate children in ways that we will be exploring. Her professional positions, research experience, speaking engagements, honors and awards, publications, community service activities take up 7 full pages. So with but one exception, I'm going to stop there or we'll run out of time. That one exception, by the way, is that in 2015, Sara was recognized as an International Ashoka Fellow for her social and corporate responsibility and nonprofit work. And there are very few honored by an Ashoka Fellowship in the world. So, Dr. Otterstrom, since we are longtime friends, I assume I can call you Sara. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Raines. I really appreciate the warm introduction. Thank you.
Sara, let's start off by having you describe the significance of either NGOs, which are here in the States, or INGOs, the International Nonprofit Organization.
Well, thank you. I think it's really important that all of your listeners recognize the importance of nonprofit organizations or NGOs and the service that they give to their communities, whether it's addressing poverty, working to create common space, addressing policy issues. Organizations, nonprofit organizations that have a charitable purpose, meaning a purpose that doesn't involve profit, is really crucial for advancing social progress, creating a more equitable society, and ensuring that society is able to protect values such as the environment, human rights. And one of the things that we see internationally is that there is a lot of disparity in wealth, and also there's some difficulties in governance or political histories that are challenging, and certainly just the fact that there is so much poverty globally. There's also a need for NGOs to exist beyond our local communities, and that is where the term international NGOs or INGOs come from. And when we consider the fact that 1.3 billion people on this planet live in extreme poverty, that means they live on less than $1.25 a day to meet their food and clothing and shelter needs.
Wow.
That is a very alarming statistic, and it creates a moral imperative for people in developed nations to consider solutions to address poverty and hopefully shift social and dynamics in around the world and developing countries in particular, so that people may move away from poverty and in towards prosperity.
Let me ask you this, Sara. It's apparent that the work you do, and we're going to get into that, directly helps those with whom you work. But what about, is there an indirect assistance or benefit to the local communities here in the United States?
Oh, absolutely. My organization works on a number of issues, but primarily related to the environment. And there are a lot of species that we in America are concerned with, particularly marine species, such as sea turtles, that are both in the marine territory of the United States, such as the green sea turtle and the olive redleaf turtle, the leatherback turtle. And they travel around the oceans, and they end up nesting in Central America. And because of the situations of poverty and some cultural practices, sea turtle eggs are exploited for food, and they're extracted from the sandy beaches and eaten as food. And this has created a problem to conservation because through the centuries of over-exploitation of sea turtles at sea, meaning fishermen catching sea turtles by the thousands, the sea turtle populations have declined so much that each and every nesting sea turtle and her nests are very vital to the survival and recovery of sea turtle populations.
So, Sara,
forgive
me. I didn't mean to interrupt, but is preservation of the sea turtles one of the reasons that you primarily work, or Paso Pacifico primarily works in the country of Nicaragua?
Yes. When I was a PhD student working in the Chocosente Wildlife Refuge, I was actually researching tropical fires and their effect on tropical forests. The area is a really important nesting turtle beach, and during that time, I was observing how impoverished communities were coming to the beach to harvest turtle eggs, how rangers that were led by the government were protecting the nest, but also using the turtle eggs to exert a power dynamic with the communities and sometimes even oppress the communities. And also observing these beautiful turtles and their very challenging experience of nesting on the beaches, I came to realize how complex the dynamic around sea turtle conservation is, and felt that an international NGO that wants to protect sea turtles also needs to be attuned to the social and economic needs of the communities, and also understand that
Sara, I'm going to interrupt you only
issues.
because we
Go
must
ahead.
take a commercial break. It'll be very short. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You did the unimaginable. You beat cancer. And ever since your victory, the sun shines brighter, air smells sweeter, and every moment you spend with loved ones is even more precious. But now, you've just been told that you have cancer. Again. There's a caring team of experts nearby and ready to help you fight cancer again at mycancercameback.com. Whether the cancer returned to the same location in your body or has now moved to a different location, there are non-surgical treatment options available even if you've already had surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy to fight cancer the first time. Find out more about treating recurrent and metastatic cancer with a caring team of experts close to home at mycancercameback.com. And stay undefeated.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. I want to thank Jan Hermson. She's the owner of LaRue Press here in northern Nevada. Had enough faith in me that she actually published my very first book. It's called Final Breath. It's a love story. It's a love story. It takes place on the Wainema Ranch. Why do I tell you that? Because all the proceeds of this little gift book are going to our American heritage, the wild horses and Mustangs at the Wild Horse Sanctuary there at Wainema Ranch. Want to check them out? Go to WaiNemaRanch.com. Write it down. It's WINEMA Ranch.com. WaiNemaRanch.com. Check it out. Or if you would like additional information about the book or the ranch, give me a call, 775-384-4444.
You did the unimaginable. You beat cancer. And ever since your victory, the sun shines brighter, air smells sweeter, and every moment you spend with loved ones is even more precious. But now, you've just been told that you have cancer. Again. There's a caring team of experts nearby and ready to help you fight cancer again at mycancercameback.com. Whether the cancer returned to the same place in your body or has now moved to a different location, there are non-surgical treatment options available, even if you've already had surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy to fight cancer the first time. Find out more about treating recurrent and metastatic cancer with a caring team of experts close to home at mycancercameback.com and stay undefeated.
All right, we are back now with the Senator Omer Raines talk show. We want you to join us. You can text 775-237-2266. You can call us from locally or anywhere in the world at 844-790-8255. What a phenomenal guest Senator Omer Raines has on air with us today. And now back to Senator Omer Raines.
Sara, before I interrupted you for commercial reasons, you were talking about one of many activities in which Paso Pacifico is involved, that of protection or preservation of sea turtles and wildlife along the coast of Nicaragua. And continue with that and factor into that discussion the importance of sustainability and what you've done to protect the turtles against poachers, which I know are prevalent throughout that part of the world.
Well, thank you. Our sea turtle program has two really important aspects to its sustainability. The first is investing in the communities. And the communities, when I say invest in the communities, I mean everyone, and that includes poachers. And we've done that by recruiting poachers to work for our sea turtle protection program. And when they start working for the program, we do a lot of training and teaching them about the life history of sea turtles, how to measure them and count them, different techniques like how to affix a satellite transmitter. And through that process, the poachers really grow and they learn to appreciate the unique biology of the sea turtle, and they change their attitudes. And we have several sea turtle rangers who've now been working for us for over 7 years. And, they acknowledge that before they used to exploit the sea turtle eggs and destroy their future, but now they're working hard to contribute to the future.
So rather than be poachers, they've transitioned through your efforts into rangers. Is that the conservation
right, yeah.
rangers?
Wow.
Yeah, and now those people, they were already really knowledgeable about turtles because basically they were hunting their eggs. But now they're harnessing that knowledge for good. And the second aspect that we have to that sustainability is really thinking about the future and future generations. And so we have a program that we call the Junior Ranger Program. And we take the same men and women who are our rangers, our adult rangers, and they work with us to help provide education and training to children ages 8 through 12 in the rural villages where we work. And these kids get hands-on environmental education. They get to go on field trips. They get science lessons. They have the opportunity to exchange their slingshots that they use to hunt wildlife, to exchange those slingshots for binoculars so they can use those binoculars to observe wildlife, enjoy wildlife, and to be able to gain jobs in the future in ecotourism and as parabiologists. And so we're finding that these kids are such great observers and such great citizen scientists that now they are going out 2 times a month on these permanent transects that we've created in the forest and helping us to observe wildlife and collect important scientific data for our long-term wildlife monitoring efforts. And so we know that having these 2 pillars of sustainability, investing in the communities now and investing in future generations, that we are able to have a package, a social package, of a way to ensure that the investments we make in conservation now will be long-lasting into the future.
Well, Sara, I'm going to transition to another project now. You, of course, first came to my attention because you got your doctorate at the same time at the same campus of the University of California as did my son Mark and his wife Kai. But thereafter, strictly by coincidence, you also became involved in a project of importance to me and to my entire family, that of Villa de Monterey, on the outskirts of the village of Tola in Nicaragua. Tell us about that program and what your efforts were, because it factors into your discussion of junior rangers, among other things.
Well, thank you for asking. That has been a really interesting project because, as you identified, Senator Raines, is that this was a village a small farming village. The farmers primarily grow corn and beans. But it's an impoverished farming village, and because of that, there were some children and families that didn't have enough money to send their kids to school. They didn't have enough money to feed their children every day. And so a woman in the village created a center for the children to feed and clothe the kids and send them to school. And that center was really struggling, and Dr. Raines, I don't know if you remember, but you and your family learned about this place and began to bring them support. And that was financial support and materials and supplies and even food for their center. And as you and your family had to leave Nicaragua, you turned to us knowing that we were an established organization. And it was very fortuitous that you reached out to us because the area is of great interest for the geographic area is great interest to our conservation efforts. And by allowing us to facilitate these donations and help to bring food and to build actually a feeding center and for the community, that we were able to strengthen the village and strengthen the children and their ability to have access to education. And at the same time, we gained a whole new community that is fully supportive of our efforts in conservation. And we continue to visit the community and to do activities with the children and to provide them with some needs that address especially education. I think that's the main and most important part of the work that we've been doing there, with your support and the support of your family members and work colleagues of your family members. So we're really grateful for that, and I think it's a great example where you can see that when people look beyond their backyard, they can partner with international NGOs and find ways to make an impact in places that are very impoverished and that could, with not a lot of money, they could really get a leg up and really progress and have greater opportunity by receiving that support.
Well, when you refer to the Junior Ranger program, and now we talk about the Via de Monterey project, and working with the children, many of those are actually orphans, are they not?
Yes, they're virtual orphans. I think many of them have families, but they have been abandoned by their families, meaning their families aren't giving them care. They're not giving them food, and they're not providing the basic necessities that you would expect most of the families. So they are not officially recognized by the state, but they're virtually orphans.
Well, through your Junior Ranger program, have you helped to educate the young people, these young children, about the importance of the environment, of ecological development and preservation? And if so, does that translate into educating the community, that is, the parents and others?
Yes, absolutely. In the case of Villas de Monterey, all those children that go to that center, the feeding center, and some of them who are orphans, those kids graduated from the Junior Ranger program, and then they're given opportunities to give service in their communities and be leaders in their communities. So that means they lead cleanups of river areas. They hold community events, like they do a dance performance, a traditional cultural dance performance for their communities. And they also give presentations after they do workshops and trainings with Paso Pacifico. They give workshops to the other community members. And so by exercising this leadership, these kids are building self-esteem. They're realizing that they have a voice and they can talk about how they would like to see their environment and how they would like garbage to go in its proper place, and how they care and appreciate and respect animals and wildlife. And that really affects adults. And we've had many adults tell us that, their attitudes have changed because of their children, because of the Junior Rangers who've taught them a new way of viewing wildlife and a new way of caring for their water sources and their rivers. So I think a program like that, this particular program, it can be very transformative for all generations. So.
Absolutely, and boy, do I applaud the work you do. I'm so impressed, and you are so diversified, and you're helping in so many ways. I want to ask you about something that just popped into my mind. As we read and know, the Panama Canal has been widened, reopened recently. They've already had 3 accidents. So once again, there's renewed interest of a cross-Nicaragua canal, which was first envisioned before we purchased from the French the rights to the Panama Canal. We're going back over 100 years now. But tell us, the proposed cross of Nicaragua by the Chinese, what would that do to the ecology of that area, especially Lake Nicaragua, 6th largest freshwater lake in the world, and the great island of Ometepe? And how do you look at that?
Well, I think, the people of Nicaragua have to really consider it very carefully, because Lake Nicaragua is the largest lake between the Great Lakes and Lake Titicaca. It's ginormous, and yet it's also very shallow. And we've seen in other places around the world where you begin to adjust and change water levels, that you can lose a lake like that. And certainly, this is the most important source of fresh water in Central America.
Wow.
Well, Sara, I'm going to interrupt you again because I want to leave you with the opportunity for a call to action. Provide your coordinates, your
contact information,
all of that in the time that remains. Very quickly, please.
We're headquartered in Ventura, California. We work in Nicaragua. Our website is Paso Pacifico,